You're listening to Affected by Altitude, a Colorado Rockies podcast for and by Rockies fans on Rocky Mountain Rooftop. Thank you for joining us as we discuss all things baseball and Colorado Rockies. Hello and welcome to Affected by Altitude, a Colorado Rockies podcast on Rocky Mountain Rooftop, proud affiliate of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Evan Lang, and with me, as always, still somewhat ill but returning from his hiatus, Skyler Timmons.
I'm back. No,
So-
I got hit with I got down with the sickness. That's been going around everywhere. Got me at Christmas after I called 10 basketball games over 3 days. Ruined my throat, so I didn't do that episode. They had Patrick on, good buddy, and got sick that week. Was on the mend. Then we didn't record. There's not much to talk about for last week. And then it hit me again, where I had like the awful respiratory junk. So I'm still dealing with the cough and kind of irritated throat, but I'm here sucking on Jolly Ranchers, drinking tons of liquid. We'll get through this.
Hey, fluids are important, and Jolly Ranchers are basically medicine.
It's true. Because I don't like cough drops. Really, my dad somehow, I don't know how my dad would suck on cough drops all the time like he did throughout his life, because I hate those things.
I feel like that's a weird older generation thing, because I don't love cough drops either, but a lot of the older folks in my life, they'll just pop them down, especially the ones that have like, what's it called? The menthol in them, the minty stuff, which I think is revolting. Yeah. But they're just like...
Yeah. Like it helps with the cough suppressant, but nasty.
Oh, yeah. They're just gross. But stay healthy out there, everybody. It is a rough season of respiratory illness. Lots of flu, lots of other stuff going around. So take care of yourselves. And if you are sick, well, what better way to relax and tune into a fabulous new episode of Affected by Altitude with your two favorite Rockies correspondents?
Maybe top 5.
Top 10. At the very least, top 10.
20.
There's not 20 different Rockies correspondents out there.
Hey, and then we're easily in the top 20.
Nailed it. Just numbers 20 through 10 are all us.
Yep.
But we'll start things out with a quick segment that one commenter really hated, and that's just a quick purview of the Colorado sports section. Our deepest apologies for dedicating 3 to 5 minutes of our hour-long baseball show in the middle of a not particularly eventful off-season for the Rockies in terms of big moves to discuss sports that are actually happening. But we'll get through it really quick for you here.
Yes, and the nature of it is... we're all dealing with sickness going around. Injuries are going around for the Nuggets.
It's rough. So currently it's Christian Braun, Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson. Then Nikola Jokic goes out with a knee injury. And we're feeling not great, but we're feeling okay about it because we actually have a backup center in Jonas Valanciunas. And in his first game starting, Jonas Valanciunas injures his calf and is now out for 4 weeks for evaluation.
Good grief. Hey, at least Gordon and Brown are questionable to return for day of recording Sunday. They're questionable to play tonight, so hopefully they are, or they're close to coming back. But no, and this will be a real test for how the Nuggets have built themselves up, try and get that depth and bench, and there's a lot of other things they have to figure out with, two-way contracts and all this other stuff, because they don't want to go too far into the tax apron stuff, whatever. But it'll be a test for their depth. And hey, that first game without all those starters, they looked pretty good against Cleveland Cavaliers. They ended up losing, but they were competitive, and so hopefully they just got to weather the storm.
Much better than I expected it to, especially with the size difference where The tallest guy on the Nuggets roster is like 6'9", 6'10", and they held tough. And honestly, they probably could have, maybe even should have won that game. What really happened is in the fourth quarter, when the Cavaliers finally shut down Jamal Murray, just they didn't really have an answer for it, and the offense went stone cold. And it was a shame because they actually played some pretty solid defense.
Yeah. So they're not. Hopefully, they just got to weather the storm. Hopefully, they'll just be in. They'll follow maybe a couple seeds. Though what they plan, but hey, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it's a big test because this has been a team where its reputation is if Jokic isn't playing, they're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can put together some good minutes, a few good games without Nikola Jokic, then that's a success in my book.
Mm-hmm. And somehow people ignore that and don't give him every MVP every year.
I know it's going to be Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or something again this year.
Careful, he just got fouled when you said that.
Oh, whoops. Quick note on the Colorado Avalanche. Of course, they are continuing to just rock and roll. It actually looked somewhat bad last night. And then, of course, because I had the nerve of counting them out, they came back and won. They went into the third period down 3-1, ended up winning the game 5-3. So that's what I get for not believing.
Yeah, I never put them out in the third period. They're the best third period team in hockey. They Moj and Rycroft say it every night going
Well,
into
it's
the
just
third
because
period.
I keep waiting for the other foot to drop, where it's just going to be, okay, they can't keep winning every game or taking every
They
game to
can.
overtime. Eventually, they've got to get that third regulation loss, right? And so I brace myself for it and go, all right, well, tonight's probably the night. And then I look like the fool. But this is the team with the third most Olympians in all of the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Though,
People,
unfortunately, Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood both snubbed for the Team Canada roster. But congrats to guys like Yoel Kiviranta, who got named to the Team Finland roster. Brock Nelson's on Team USA. Of course, our big delegation to Team Canada. Landy's on Team Sweden. Lecky's on Team Finland. It's cool. I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, and no, sad for the goalies, but it's also one of those things you're like, well, let them get their rest. Like that's what you kind of like worry about too. It's like, of course, McKinnon, Makar, all our delegations, they'll probably be fine, but you're always going to be like, we need you for the Stanley Cup thing, like that.
Yeah, a
Just be
little
safe,
bit more
everybody.
important. I understand that playing for your country is cool and all, but we got bigger fish to fry, and his name is Lord Stanley, and we want his cup.
Yeah, but fun stuff.
And then finally, your Denver Broncos will have the opportunity, and if they don't walk away with it today, something went terribly wrong, to clinch the number one seed in the AFC. The Los Angeles Chargers are resting many of their starters, including their starting quarterback. The Broncos need to walk away with this win, and it's a triple header today. We've got Avs, Nuggets, and Broncos all playing this afternoon at time of recording, which is a fun day of Colorado sports.
Yeah. And hey, did you watch that Elway documentary?
Not yet. It's on my to-do list, but I hear it is really good.
It's pretty bare bones, but it's not too bad. You just relive some highlights of, John Elway, The Drive. He went to the Super Bowl. He went to the Super Bowl again.
I mean, to be fair,
nothing hard hitting.
To be fair, I spend my afternoon sometimes just watching old Rockies clips of when we did good things. Like I sat down a couple days ago and just watched an Andres Galarraga home runs compilation. So that kind of stuff works on me. I'm an easy mark.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
But speaking of the Colorado Rockies, over the last couple of weeks, we have some odds and ends to tie up as the Rockies have largely completed their coaching staff. There's a couple bits and bobs that aren't fully named here, but things sort of started off. We never really got a chance to talk about our new bench coach, Jeff Pickler, who is going to be taking over from Clint Hurdle, who was the interim bench coach last year. Jeff Pickler previously has been with the Cincinnati Reds. He's also worked in the Minnesota Twins organization, as well as the Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks, sort of continuing that trend of guys who have a lot of knowledge of the National League West.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always with bench coaches, you're like, well, it's usually whatever, but this guy can hopefully, provide some mentorship and insight background for a guy who's been a bench coach, been around helping coach in the big leagues. Can provide that for Warren Schaefer because yeah, he's a rookie manager, and but having a team of experienced guys around him, to help him along, it was crucial, and we didn't know who. We had all kinds of ideas of, well, what do you do with the bench coach, but I think Jeff Pickler, yeah, pretty pretty fine choice. It's another one of the younger type of guys around the league, more modern mindset, and I think that'll be good to have those two guys kind of at the helm. And also mention it, Ron Gideon, who's also an assistant bench coach. So Shafe has got two bench coaches there with him to help him with in-game decisions and all those things and strategy, and then helping with the various coaching around. But pretty safe, easy pick.
Yeah.
Pickler.
A safe, easy pickler. I do love pickles, and that
I do not.
is what I will call him.
The old pickleball.
It's the hot new trend that's sweeping the nation as of a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Because I am
Yeah,
behind in the times. Now
yeah,
I like
Pickler's 49 and everything, so he's one of the older coaches newer coaches that they're bringing in. But no, he was a middle infielder. He's coached with the Twins, was with the Reds, and everything. Was a scout with the Padres, was in the Dodgers front office. Then he went to the Twins and everything. So he's been out of work for the past year, it looks like, but for 2025, and now he's back, and good opportunity.
it just makes me laugh because we keep talking about how young this staff is. And so when you get to the guys who are older, who are like
Yeah.
45 and 49 outside of Ron Gideon, who we'll talk about, it's just funny because it kind of plays into that old trope of age in sports where it's like, oh, he's 33 years old and still playing. What a medical marvel he is. But
It's interesting too that he's another guy with a lot of those connections to general manager Josh Burns. So we're seeing Burns. I think that was a question we had Evan, of okay, DePodesta's top dog, brings in his GM. What role or like autonomy does the GM have? What influence does he have? And it's like Josh Burns has had quite a bit on the big league roster and the coaching staff of guys that they've brought in, of guys that he's worked with, his connections. So it's even pointing to, yeah, Josh Burns, probably a really good hire as a GM under DePodesta.
And it's a good sign in general in terms of autonomy for both DePodesta and Burns, where for the front office, especially, DePodesta has been bringing in a lot of guys that he has experience working with, especially his assistant GMs, both from his times with the Mets organization. And then his GM, like you said, is bringing in all of these guys that he's familiar with. And I think that says a lot because we're bringing in guys who don't have any baggage, who don't have any history with the Rockies, which is pretty much exactly what we wanted, of a lot of fresh faces with a lot of different experience from all over the league, but plenty of experience within the division, which is going to be really important because, hey, you play those guys the most.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he's like of all the main, every single of the main hands-on coaching type roles in that dugout, all from outside of the organization, outside of Shafe, and then some of these assistant positions, or like Andy Gonzalez is, and as well retaining some of these guys. Other than that, everybody's outside of the organization is the head honchos, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. And honestly, I like a lot of the, yes, Warren Schaefer was here last year, but he is still, it's going to be his first season as a full on manager without the interim tag. But I really do like, so they brought in a brand new pitching coach, they brought in a brand new bench coach. A lot of the other pitching staff were all brand new. But for some of the lower level coaches, is maintaining at least some continuity. Because I do think, yes, it's great that they're flipping over tables, that they cleaned a lot of house, that they're bringing in a lot of new people. But at the same time, and for the same reason why you kept Warren Schaefer, you want a little bit of continuity of guys who have done good work, guys that are bought in, and guys that the team are familiar with. And I think where that really shines through is all of our the rest of the expanded coaching staff that was named just a couple weeks ago underneath Warren Schaefer. And I think the biggest one is that, guys, we told you he was probably going to stay. He is eternal. He is everlasting. Mr. Ron Gideon, of course, staying with the team for the stadium that was built around him.
It's
But
true.
getting a little bit of a promotion. Instead of the first base and infield coach, he is the assistant bench coach.
Yeah, and the bench coaches also have their roles. I'm sure he'll still help with outfield type stuff, infield. He'll probably do whatever. Just kind of a roving assistant coach, so to speak. It seems like of like, well, Ron, we don't want to fire you. You're fine to keep around, but we want to maybe open up that first base coach position for somebody else, and then kind of like you said, give him a little bit of a promotion in a sense, and just kind of keep him around. He is the seasoned, the token old man mentor. Maybe for a lot of these guys as well.
61 years old. So he
Yeah.
is the oldest guy on the staff.
So yeah, it's fine to keep him around. Like Ron Gideon, he's for all intents and purposes, like you never really hear about him. You never, he works with outfield, infield, all that stuff. Coaching first base, he's been there forever. Has been there forever. He's been there for a while. He's been in the organization forever. But yeah, it's pretty harmless to keep him around. He's of all those, old guard. Ron Gideon was probably the most harmless because he defense and whatever he's working with was usually pretty good, and so good for him.
Yeah. What that does mean, though, is that the Rockies need a new first base coach. They have not yet hired one yet. Or named anyone to that role yet. They have, however, decided that Andy Gonzalez, who is the interim third base coach last year, is going to retain those duties. So Andy Gonzalez, 44, he's got a couple different roles. He's the infield coach, and he will continue to be the third base coach. And honestly, I'm okay with this move. It's There were definitely some times where he clearly struggled with the role last year, some bad sends, some bad reads, but something to keep in mind is that it was his first experience as a third base coach, and it's one of those things where I'm down to at least give him another year and see if he, continues to improve, and if not, you name a new third base coach for 2027 or 2028. But again, just one of those guys where I know Schaefer likes him and it provides some continuity.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Following up with Gonzalez, you've got an assistant hitting coach under hitting coach Brett Pill. This one I'm really happy to see is that Jordan Pacheco is going to be staying with the big league coaching staff. He's going to be an assistant hitting coach. Pacheco, of course, was the interim hitting coach along with Nick Wilson last season, and we did see some improvements with the Rockies hitting. It was not perfect by all means, but we did see some more contact. We did see a little bit more power, and we did see a at least slight reduction in strikeouts. So I'm really curious to see what he does underneath Brett Pill. That does, however, leave Nick Wilson. We do not know currently if he's going to be back with the organization or not. It's one of those just sort of we got to wait and see kind of things.
Yeah, and you can tell, maybe these other two hires are Warren Schaefer having some of his picks too, because he's the one who brought on, really helped bring on Jordan down in Albuquerque. And then, I'm sure was a proponent of, hey, let's bring up Jordan to help us with the hitting. After they moved on and moved Clint Hurdle over to bench coach and everything. So no, but he's familiar with the young group. He's familiar with him. He's analytically minded, and now hopefully, Jordan can get those tools to help Brett Pill along to get familiar with the guys that they're working with and whatnot. So, good on him. Hopefully, hopefully that hitting tandem can really help out this team.
Yeah. The only other guys really of note are the two bullpen catchers who will be returning both from last year. We have former Rockies draft picks in Chris Rubago and Kyle Cunningham. Rubago became one of the bullpen catchers last year after Aaron Munoz moved on to bigger and better things within the Rockies organization to continue his coaching journey. Rubago had a decent chunk of minor league experience. He was a 13 round pick in the 2014 draft. And he has also been given the duties of catching instructor for the Rockies for this season, which is pretty cool. And then Cunningham also has been with the organization for a hot minute. He has been a bullpen catcher since 2019. And last season, he was given the role of game planning and advanced scouting, and that is a role that he will continue to have for this season.
There you go. Picking up
But
those holiday
overall,
leftovers.
yeah, overall though, that's sort of the coaching staff that we are expecting to roll into the 2026 season yet. With there's, of course, a couple of spots that have yet to be filled, and it's the same with the front office. The front office is largely filled out at this point, but there's a couple spots that you could fill. You could get some redundancies. You could move some other stuff around, but we should have a full coaching staff announced at the end of January, beginning of February. That's sort of when the Rockies prefer to do it, just right before pitchers and catchers start reporting for spring training. So we'll keep an eye out for any other additional moves. But yeah, the formal announcement and finalization of the coaching staff will be in about a month.
There we go. We're getting there.
Now that it's the new year, it really feels like we're getting close.
Mm-hmm. Hey, about a month and a half.
I'm ready. I'm ready for baseball. But I hope you're ready for baseball too, because we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll keep talking Rockies baseball. So don't go anywhere here on
What?
Affected by Altitude. Welcome back to Affected by Altitude. I'm Evan, that's Skyler, and going to throw you a curveball. We're not going to talk about the Rockies. We're going to keep talking about other Colorado sports instead. Nah, I'm kidding. Could you imagine, though?
I don't know anything else about the other sports.
I'm going to take over and I'm going to make this a Green Bay Packers podcast.
Gross. Get out of here, you cheesehead.
Affected by cheesitude. Nah, it's time to keep talking Rockies baseball. And Skyler, now that the front office is largely filled out, now that the coaching staff is largely filled out, it's been a pretty quiet couple of weeks for the Rockies.
Yeah, because there's been this smattering of little minor league signings here and there, filling out depth, and then seeing interviews from DePodesta, like, oh, we're in a position to start making offers to big league free agents and start adding free agents to the roster, and guys are calling us wanting to play here, and we're hearing all this stuff, but then just nothing. We still haven't seen anything happen. Anything like, yeah, I know it's been the holidays, but other teams have done stuff over the holidays too and whatnot. But it's getting to a point now, Evan, where like, okay, let's start seeing some action, like you had said. Like, yeah, the coaching staff is nice and everything, the front office people, but they're not the ones on the field playing the game. And as it looks, we're just rolling out the 2025 crew again, pretty much.
Yeah, minus, of course, Orlando Arcia, who is officially gone, having signed a minor league contract with the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, and Kyle Farmer, who's somewhere in the nether realm.
A couple former Rockies have signed in places like Korea. Sam Hilliard signed in Korea. I think a couple people have gone to Japan. Michael Tolia, still a free agent. I mean, it really does say a lot, unfortunately, that most of the guys the Rockies parted ways with have signed at best a minor league contract or overseas. and
Mhm.
at worst are still unsigned. And I think that says a lot about the talent level of the 2025 Rockies.
Did Drew Romo stay with the Mets?
Yes, Drew Romo is still with the New
Still with
York
the Mets.
Mets, and I actually really like that as a landing spot for him. They've really only got the one catcher, Francisco Alvarez, who's a little bit injury prone so far. Especially he's broken his hand like 3 times or something like that. But I think it's a better landing spot than some of the other places he could have ended up because it's more of an opportunity, I think, for him to get some actual big league playing time where he could be the backup catcher or earn more duties out of spring training. So I'm happy for him in that landing spot. But meanwhile, you've got guys like Ryan Rollison, who's been now picked up and waived by a bunch of different teams. Anthony Molina has been waived. It's um, it's a bummer,
Yeah,
but that's just kind of how it goes, unfortunately.
that happens. That's
Especially
baseball.
especially when you are a 119 loss team. The guys that you are saying are not going to stay on your 119 loss team aren't exactly going to be a hot commodity.
Yeah. Yeah, you putting your junk out on the curb with a free sign.
Yeah, someone may
Nobody's.
come and pick it up, but don't be surprised if you see it back out there again in a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I don't want your gross stained yellow mattress that you put a free sign on the street.
I mean, I wouldn't compare, you know, poor Ryan Rollison to a stained yellow mattress. That seems a little mean.
But
Friend of the show, and we're wishing him the best.
yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like you put out something that's not that good.
Yeah. The reason you
All
put it
things
out
considered.
there is because you don't want it anymore.
Yeah, it's like this box spring is broken. I don't want it, but hey, maybe you do.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna keep driving.
And sometimes you get some good stuff from the curb. But yeah, for the Rockies, it really is. We're sitting and waiting to see what it is they're going to do. Paul DePodesta made some remarks about doing some more work with players from NPB and KBO. But unfortunately, we are at the point now where the majority of Japanese and Korean players that posted are now off the market, having either signed with an MLB team or made the decision to go back to Japan or Korea. And that just leaves all of the remaining big league free agents and potentially some other minor league signings. But Skyler, where this really leaves us right now is what are the Rockies going to do at first base? Because that's something that they've said they need to address as an area of focus. Right now, currently, the guys on the roster are Troy Johnston, picked up on waivers from the Miami Marlins, and Blaine Krim, who got playing time at the end of last season. But the Rockies really don't have any other first basemen right now who are quote unquote big league ready.
Yeah, there's a lot of holes still on this roster, uh, and everything where it's that's been the interesting thing for me this off season is it's been a lot of, well, we're looking to add to this roster. We're gonna, we want to add some veteran experience and established players into this lineup, but then it's nothing. It's been crickets now. And then we hear, oh, I have some meetings with guys who play first base at the winter meetings, and we're getting calls that people want to come play here because of the opportunities. And we keep hearing a lot of this stuff. And I know they've done a lot of good stuff with the coaching and whatnot. But Evan, I can't just shake the feeling that it's just been Rocky's business as usual, regardless of who's in the front office. Like, yeah, DePodesta, you've said a lot of good things. You've been saying the right things, but you got to start doing some action, and we're not getting any of that. Now, is it because they just are having a tight-fisted owner who's like, no, you've already spent all your money on hiring these people into the front office and into the coaching staff, so we really don't have much money to bring in free agents. Plus, the 2027 lockout's going to help us, type of thing. So it's just kind of business as usual. And when it's worrisome when you get the PTSD when Paul DePodesta, trying to figure out those acronyms altogether, PDPS,
PDPTSD.
There you go. Of him saying, well, we expect our guys to just play better this next year. And you hear that in an interview with the Denver Post. It brings back some feelings, Evan, because it's the same song and dance that we've heard, where the moves they have made for the roster are the moves that Bill Schmidt made, that Jeff Bridich made, that have been made for the past 10 plus years. We haven't seen the front office, DePodesta and Josh Burns, make their mark yet. And it's starting to maybe get a little bit worrisome, even if it's not surprising that they haven't done anything yet, especially with like a first baseman.
I think it's really tricky because the Rockies just find themselves in such an odd situation. They are
Yeah.
finally rebuilding after it being needed for many, many years. And we are at the point, we're on the ground floor where a big name free agent is not really something that this team needs
Yeah.
right now. They don't need to go out and break the bank on anybody. But at the same time, there are moves that need to be made and some that need to be improved. But then on the other hand, you do look at some of the current player groups, especially in the infield outside of first base, and you look at where we're at and where we were at last season and say, I guess I'd be okay with just rolling them out to see if they improve.
Yeah.
Where I'm down to see Kyle Karros get a full season at third base and see how he does. I'm down to see how Ezekiel Tovar improves after a difficult season in 2025. Uh, I do think it's finally put up or shut up time for Adael Amador. He's still quite young, but he's now had several cups of coffee with nothing to show for it. And Ryan Ritter came up, and while he is older, he was at least a little better, especially with the glove work. And that really just leaves us like it's second and first base in the infield that are the big unknowns right now. And then it's the pitching staff, especially the rotation. And I do agree that when you hear the basic framework of, well, our guys need to play better, it makes you cringe because we've been hearing this for a decade now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got to couch that in, he's not just saying, well, the guys just need to be better. He's also saying our brand new coaching staff that we just invested a ton of money and resources in need to help these guys play better, and we want to
Yeah.
see how they respond. We want to see how Kyle Freeland responds with a real pitching coach to work with, or we want to see how Kyle Karros starts adding to his skill set at the plate with a new hitting coach.
Yeah.
And that is important, and you do have guys on this team where they do need to have dramatically improved 2026 seasons in order to prove that they could be a part of the future of the organization. And if not, then you move on. We really are in an evaluation period, as it were, for a lot of these guys, where you've got to go, is this a guy or do we move on? And it's one of those things where really nobody is safe and nobody should be safe. We've talked at length about how if the Rockies need to trade Brenton Doyle and they can get some good resources back and they don't think he's the guy for the future because he's going to be 28 this season, it's not pleasant, but that's kind of what a rebuilding team has to do. And it's the same for, if we had to trade Mickey Moniak or if we had to trade even guys like Zach Veen, of guys who the previous organization was high on them. Yes, they drafted these guys. Of course they liked them. But now you've actually got to sit down and go, well, do we like these guys? Do we think these are guys who can contribute? And for the 2026 Rockies, a lot of that moving on happened last year. And now we're going to have an additional phase of that moving into this coming season, where almost nobody who was slated to be an opening day starter in 2025 is an opening day starter in 2026, with the exception of Ezekiel Tovar and Hunter Goodman, who was the unexpected opening day starter in 2025. Remember that opening catcher role was originally supposed to be Jacob Stallings.
Mm-hmm. The one difference too of this is you're saying is it's, yeah, we expect them to play better, but we have the resources and we're going to put the tools in to try and actually make good on that, which is good. But it's still them hearing, oh, we want to add veterans. We want to add some veteran established. We don't want to give these roles to players just because that's who we have to give them to rookies, which is very understandable. No, you don't want to just hand them off to guys that aren't quite ready or because out of desperation. But there are players out there that they could go get, but it's just kind of sitting on their hands. And yeah, maybe we'll get a flurry here in this coming week or in the coming weeks, which will be great. But what we're just saying, Evan, is pointing to, man, the Rockies really should have done something last summer. No, in the middle of July, when they could have canned their general manager then and started the process to get a little head start, because then wouldn't be having these conversations. But kind of to bring it full back around to first base, there's plenty of good stopgap options that could be good regulars for a season at a couple of these positions, but first base specifically, that you can plug in there. Like, yeah, you could throw Blaine Crim in there, and he could be fine. He could also be bad because he's 28 and just barely debuted last season. So you never know. But there's things you could do without breaking the bank. You think your CJ Crones and your Mark Reynolds that you've had in the past. There's options like that you could get on a 1-year deal. Yeah, 1 year, $10 million. I think you could do that for one of the better players on a prove me type deal thing. But I don't know. The market has gotten pretty shallow at first base though, because they haven't done anything. Like most prominent ones, like Paul Goldschmidt or Luis Ariz, which I don't think Luis Ariz is the best fit for this Rockies team where they're at right now. So I don't know. They're in a weird spot because the market is dwindling for the areas that you needed, but you haven't been able to do anything yet.
Yeah, but at the same time, the organization is fairly certain that they've got their guy for the future at first base in Charlie Condon, and he's just not ready yet. And I think that's another part of evaluating who you're going to sign is, I think pretty much any veteran that you sign needs to be brought in with the understanding of, if you do good, you're probably gone at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And you can say the same for if you brought in any sort of utility players. A couple names have been mentioned, like Willie Castro, is if you do good enough, you're not a long-term solution. Like almost nobody the Rockies are going to bring in are going to be any sort of long-term deal, long-term solution. And that might be kind of hurting them in terms of the market, where a lot of guys that are on the market are wanting longer term deals. And if they're not getting a longer term deal, then they're usually wanting a significant chunk of change for a shorter term deal. And that could definitely be hurting a team like the Rockies.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to know just what those conversations are like. Cause like you said, like Willie Castro's the only free agent we've heard the Rockies connected to. That we haven't heard anything else. And otherwise they're keeping it really tight chested. But it's like, we don't even know who they've met with, any contact they've had with anybody. Maybe just nobody cares to get those sources. I don't know, but just what can they do? And that's what that lineup needs, is an established regular, a veteran regular who's not your Kyle Farmers, not your, they've had one good season in their career, but somebody with sustained success over their career. Now, I wrote it in a rock pile for Purple Row. It's like Carlos Santana seems like the type of player they would go for at this point, which, all things considered, might not be a bad option.
Yeah,
like
there are worse moves.
He's a good defender, and he's been consistent with his bat over his career, even as the power has dwindled a little bit more, but it's still there.
If you like veteran presences who are good at teaching the young guys.
Yeah. Or it's like, can you somehow convince Paul Goldschmidt to come to your team, even though his bat and power is a little diminished, but do you want that veteran influence on your roster? Like, yeah, I'd take a Paul Goldschmidt type of thing. With, like you're saying, the intention of They're here for the year. Be a mentor. Show these guys not just how to be a veteran in the big leagues, how to survive, but how to be successful. And I think that's the perfect opportunity that they have with first base is to bring in a veteran like that, because Blaine Crim, Troy Johnston, yeah, they've had good minor league careers. They don't know how to survive in the big leagues. Like, yeah, Blaine Crim had a good stretch there near the end of the season, had his moments, but you could easily throw him in there. Okay, fine, whatever. But this team needs a leader that they don't have, because Chris Bryant is perpetually injured. Who knows what happens with him? But you need something.
Yeah.
And I think first base is the perfect opportunity to do that, because, like I said, second base, you can throw Ryan Ritter, Adiel Alomdor there. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Any number of those minor league, guys that they've signed, whatever, fine. Nicky Lopez, any of those guys, whatever. But first base is that opportunity, I think, of short-term veteran until Charlie Condon, somebody else is ready. That's the big opportunity.
Yeah. And, all we can do is really wait and see. The hope is that the ball is going to start rolling a lot more on free agent signings and other moves in the next week, now that we're finally through the holidays, now that it's 2026. But it really is one of those things where I understand if the Rockies don't make any huge moves, but at the same time, I'm at the point where it's like, all right, come on, guys, let's do at least something. Give us something to talk about. Give us something that tells us what direction we're going in.
Yeah, because they've spent their time evaluating the roster and all this stuff. And that's fine, getting familiar with it. But it's also like there's been people that have been there forever. G. Podesta, you can get some evaluations a little quicker on some guys, like, yeah, we should move on from this guy. Or, there's a guy that we've been looking at, we thought about, we think he'd be good, let's try and go get him. There's got to be more work that can be done, a little bit more urgency. You've got all the big league coaching and all that stuff. Big stuff's done. Now let's turn to the roster. Let's start doing something. Let's get those trades that you want to bring in starting pitching.
And part of this is why it was so frustrating that the Rockies waited so long to get this ball rolling, is that they inevitably started from a disadvantage. They're starting from behind. They had to take the extra time to evaluate the people on the staff, evaluate the people on the roster. But now it's been about a month, 2 months. Now it's time to say, all right, you've had more than enough time to at least make some cursory evaluations. We've got to start doing stuff. It's 40 days until pitchers and catchers report. Spring training is here before we know it. And it would be nice to know where we're at in terms of this roster as we get there.
Yeah. Because, Evan, after all these years, I am sick of seeing Rockies sign so-and-so on a minor league deal. Because guess what? Minor league deals, there's no such thing as a bad minor league deal. But think of the caliber of players that are signing minor league deals. It's not a guy was an all-star the previous year. Usually, it's someone who, they struggled. They're DFA'd, kicked off a roster. And
it's Dan O'Dowd's son from the Pioneer League.
Yeah. Like, that really moves the needle. Like, it's usually...
It's a funny signing, but it's not like... Yeah, and nothing the Rockies have really done this offseason in terms of minor league signings or anything that you go, wow, that could be a guy. It's it's minor league signings. It's depth.
Yeah. It's not like CJ Crone, who, he was dealing with injury bad luck. His previous seasons or two, so he couldn't get a really good, nobody wanted to commit a big league deal. Rockies take a chance, and he gets rewarded for it with a good season, and then gets an extended contract that maybe was a little too long. But, minor league signings can turn out well, but you have to just look at the history of a player. And, a lot of the guys the Rockies get, it's like, he was good for like 3 games in middle of July in 2023.
Nicky Lopez, probably not going to be the guy.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, good for him. Like, he's good depth, but really doesn't bring anything to the table that really makes the Rockies better, per
Yeah.
se.
That a guy like Aaron Schunk or other guys that we have parted ways with would have also brought to the table on a minor league deal.
So, yeah. So that's where I'm like, let's get some free agents. Let's get some trades. Let's bring in good players. Because that's part of the rebuild is a rebuild is about not just like trying to make your players better. It's changing out the guard, rebuilding up the infrastructure of, well, we got to get some different players in here, better players. And it's, like you said, in a weird spot because who knows if these players are even at their full potential because of how the team is operated. They haven't had the tools, so who knows? It's a weird spot, but just do something.
Yeah, here's hoping that the Rockies will start doing stuff and giving us more stuff to talk about as the new year progresses, because goodness knows, for once, let's hope that after this episode gets posted tomorrow, something happens.
Rockies trade for Shohei Ohtani.
I knew it.
And Dodgers foot the entire bill.
Now you're living in a fantasy
and they take
world.
Chris Bryant.
And Chris Bryant retires.
No, they use their resources to travel back in time and give him some sort of special injection that cures the weird rare back disorder. Or they probably travel into the future and get it, and then they come back.
There you go. But yeah, here's hoping that the Rockies start doing something here. We're going to take one more quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to close this thing out. Welcome back to Affected by Altitude with Evan and Skyler, third and final segment of our first episode of the calendar year 2026. And Skyler, what's a new year without some New Year's resolutions?
It's like any other old year.
Especially considering most of us don't actually stick by our New Year's resolutions.
Just like the Rockies.
But the Rockies should nonetheless have some New Year's resolutions, and you know what? Hopefully they stick by them. I'm very much going to try and stick by my resolutions this year, so I don't see why the Rockies should be any different.
Sure.
And so we're going to close things out here with some just general New Year's resolution kind of things, some basic things that we would like to see the Rockies do in 2026. And the first one for me is, it's a little unfair, but for Ezequiel Tovar, it's got to be a stay healthy year where he's never really had a ton of injuries, but last year just really bitten by the injury bug, had a very difficult year, missed a ton of time. He is still pretty young, and what the Rockies really need from their shortstop, who has, I still think, all-star potential, is a full, healthy season where he hits the ground running.
Yeah, that'd be a huge one. It's Tovar living up to his potential and living up to that contract in general would be huge, because he's still got his issues he needs to work on. Meaning stop swinging anything down and away thing. And so huge. We need Tovey to be the man.
Yeah, we need him on the field, and we need him doing what he is supposed to be doing. And we did see, like, when he was on the field last season, especially towards the tail end of the year, he looked good once he finally got into the rhythm of things. And so if he can start the season in a rhythm, I liken it back to Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, every year, for the last couple of years, we've been like, he needs to stay healthy, and we need to see him in mid-season form early on. And we're seeing that this year. And that's helping the Nuggets through some difficult times with all the other injuries that they're having, where Jamal Murray is going out and putting out good numbers and helping lead the team. And that's the same kind of thing that I want to see from Ezequiel Tovar. We always hear about he's very mature, he wants to be a leader. This is the perfect year for him to establish himself as a leader.
It's one thing to be a leader just in the clubhouse and in the dugout. It's another where you're a leader on the field. You are leading by example. You're the one driving in the runs. You're the one hitting the home runs. You're the one making the big plays. You are the superstar on the field. And that's something the Rockies have been lacking for many years now, is a leader, not just in the clubhouse and in the dugout. Like, yeah, there's plenty of guys that can do that. Kyle Farmer was doing that last year. Kyle Freeland and all that stuff. It's another to have a guy who goes out on the field and backs up what he's saying in the clubhouse, in the dugout. And that's what Tovey can be this year. That's what they need him to be. And I hope he does.
I agree.
I think first one for me is the Rockies need to go to the gym more so they can start hitting some dang home runs. I want some dang power in my offense again, Evan, because I am sick of the long stretches without home runs where, maybe a guy will hit a home run here and there, but I want more power, more power.
Yeah.
That's what this team desperately needs, especially at home.
And we have guys who we know have the power potential, but need to start putting that together. One of the two biggest names for me, for guys who I want to see really break out in terms of putting bat to ball with the barrel, getting the slugging going, is Jordan Beck and Kyle Karros. Karros, we know, can hit runs from his minor league career. He's got the long frame that he's still filling out. He's 6'5", but we've got to see him get that power stroke going. Like, it's one thing that his defense is really good, and he's not a crazy strikeout machine, but he's got to put the rest of those tools together, and a big one is the power. And it's the same for Jordan Beck, where we could see the power potential because he hit a bunch of home runs in like a cluster, but then go cold for a month and have nothing. And that's something that, Jordan Beck had a generally much improved 2025, but there's still work to be done. And I think for him as well, he can get stronger. He can get more power out of that bat. He's got the ability to do it.
Yeah. I think I had written about this around Christmas. Christmas stocking stuffers I'd give to Rockies players. And that was with Jordan Beck, where, he had those 5 home runs over 3 games. Awesome. After that, he averaged 2, maybe 3 home runs a month the rest of the season. It was usually around 2. Really inconsistent power. And so I think that's the big thing for them, is not just power, but consistent power. And part of that goes into better pitch selection, better quality of contact, because we look at like Warming Bernabel, who's no longer with the team, with the Nationals now, by the way. His thing was, he make a lot of contact. It usually wasn't very good contact. Didn't get the sweet spot of the bat very much. It's like, it's great when you can make contact, but even then, bad contact is just as bad as a strikeout because it's not productive.
Yeah, and you could still see, even in some of those, it's like, oh man, if he had just gotten better contact on that, that's gone.
Yeah, or it's this line drive that would have head to the gap. Well, he got on top of it and beat it into the ground. Or he made contact on this pitch at the knees, but it's a ground out to first base. And so it's better pitch selection and just a more consistent swing and contact to get some lift on the ball. There's plenty of power in that lineup that could occur, from Hunter Goodman and Mickey Moniak, those established power guys that have shown power now consistently. But Brenton Doyle has plenty of power. He can be another 20-20 guy. Tovar, we've seen him get close to 30 home runs. He could be another guy who could hit 30 home runs easily. In that 25 to 30 range. There's a lot of guys that could fit in that.
Yeah.
Jordan Beck could be a 20-20 guy.
It's crazy. Honestly, almost everyone who I could see being on this roster in terms of starters could be a 20-20 guy. We know Doyle can do 20-20. He's done it. We know that Jordan Beck has that potential. We know that Tovar has the potential. Karros could have that potential. He's no slouch. And it's just one of those things where I'd like to see it actually happen, where we finally get a breakout season of multiple guys hitting double-digit home runs, hitting 20-plus home runs, something that we haven't really had in a long time of being a power threat up and down the lineup. And I'm not saying that every player has to be a power threat, because you of course are always going to have room for some small ball and stuff like that. But what makes small ball easier is the same thing that makes power easier, is knowing that no matter what, you're a threat.
And I could easily see that lineup from top to bottom, at least like 7 guys who could have 15 or more home runs during the regular season, which I think, it pretty doable. You could have some guys that hit way more, like some of your your big top guys like a Goodman or a Tovar. And then you could have guys like Kyle Karras who could, he could squeeze in at that 14, 15 home runs, and that would be
Absolutely.
perfectly fine. And then you have Tyler Freeman who will contribute maybe 1 or 2.
which
Is your
which at the same time though is fine, because you need
hey,
small ball
you
guys.
you need people on base to make those home runs mean even more.
Yeah. We
But
know that
that would
hitting only solo home runs isn't that useful.
yeah. And so that would be huge for this team, is just figure out the power again. Now go back to those glory days when you know, you had Story, you had Arenado, you had Cargo, you had Tulo, you just power guys up and down that lineup. Guys each hitting like 30 to 25 to 30 home runs every year or
Yeah.
more.
I think my next one is more based on pitching, especially for the rookie pitchers, is shake it off. I think a lot of guys, myself included, Skyler, I know you did, had not a very good 2025. But it's a new year and there are new opportunities. And for guys like Chase Dolander, Carson Palmquist, even guys in the bullpen like Zach Agnos, the rookies who made their debuts last year and had their ups and downs, got bullied a little bit, got beat up, got roughed up, got knocked down. Leave that behind in 2025. And you have the opportunity now. You have a rare opportunity to kind of clean slated for 2026, especially Chase Dolander, where if he can leave behind all the negative parts of 2025 and go into 2026 with the brand new pitching staff, the brand new coaching staff, the brand new development staff, and look even a little bit like the pitcher that we know he can be based on what he did at Tennessee and where we drafted him, that's a great year. That's already a success.
Yeah, it's don't dwell on the bad parts of 2025 and take the good and move on from there. It's like Chase Dolander. Yeah, he got beat up at Coors Field, but you were pretty good on the road. No, you're fairly good on the road. Take the good of the previous year, learn from the struggles, absolutely. Take those lessons, take the good, and move forward. And that was a problem, and that's something for the Rockies too, as well. Just the organization as a whole. And that's kind of what DePodesta and all those guys are doing, is just learn your lessons from the previous year, take the good, and carry that into 2026. Don't need to carry the 119 losses over your head into 2026. Like, yeah, it's going to be there in the back of your mind, but don't look back on it. Don't dwell on it. It happened. Now move on and try and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. It's, a lot of us make resolutions to lose weight in the new year, and this is losing the emotional weight. All the baggage that you had from 2025, everything bad that happened, everything frustrating, the 119 losses, the bloated ERAs, the collapses, it's done. It's over. You do not need to pack that up with you and bring it with you into 2026. It does not spark. What is it? Marie Kondo. This does not spark joy.
Ooh.
It does not spark joy. It's one of those things. Skylar, have you ever seen read or seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yes.
It reminds me of when they're about to, I forget where they're at, and Ford and Zaphod just like start singing the song, and it's an old Beetlejuicean death anthem that means, well, after this, things can only get better. And that's the attitude you've got to have of, yeah, the Rockies hit rock bottom, in 2025, and a lot of pitchers had tough years. Chase Dolander, ERA at cores dang near 10. Carson Palmquist had his struggles. Everybody had their struggles. But if you go, all right, that's the low point. It's all uphill from here, baby.
Mm-hmm. It's all downhill from here. But
you've peaked. What? You've peaked. I get stronger, right? Yeah, but no.
Yeah, it's memory of a goldfish. Everybody just wipe the slate clean. 2026 new year. You got a new front office. You hopefully a new outlook for the Rockies. Hold on to that and just hope it can be better until the 2027 season gets canceled because everybody wants more money. Money.
Even then, I think this is a year where you've got not just hope, you've got to know things are going to get better and try and have a positive outlook. And it's not always easy. And I've been trying to do is going at least trying to be the positive of, yeah, the 2027 season might get canceled, but you know what? Maybe it won't. Have a little bit of hope.
Mm-hmm. In Dick Monfort we trust.
Let's not go that far.
On it a little bit. One other one for me.
Get crazy.
I think one for me is just have more fun. It's the thing for the Rockies this year too, is just have fun, and organization itself needs to have more fun. Engage with the fans. Stop being such a stale brand of, come to our game and get this free hot dog coupon. Like, what? Make your in-stadium experience more fun, more engaging. Make it a place that Rockies fans want to come to. And part of that's have a better team on the field, but also just make it a fun, engaging environment that you want to come to. We've talked about how boring just the in-game entertainment itself is a lot of the time. It's kind of boring. Make it more engaging and make your image more than, hey, we're just a great place to come drink a beer. Okay, that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. And even for me, like, as much as I enjoy drinking that beer, what else you got for me?
Yeah.
I tell you what, Rockies, you can keep the hat shuffle. You can keep that. But please get rid of that stupid generic Toyota truck race. I'm begging you.
Or having to watch the person throw beanbags under the cornhole thing.
I don't mind the beanbag thing, but that's because I had a buddy who won doing that. And it was a fun experience to watch him get to do that.
Remember when they had the Jack Link Sasquatch? No, the Jack Link Sasquatch would hide in the stadium, and then the Jumbotron, the cameras would move around, and then they'd find him in a row, and then everybody in that row would get a bag of Jack Link's beef jerky.
I do not remember this at all.
Oh, that was awesome!
When was this?
That thing. It was like 10 years ago. I remember in like 2014, 2013, somewhere around there.
To be fair, I was not going in person to a ton of Rockies games back then because I was broke. But man, I do not remember that at all.
You guys don't know, but Evan actually just has, just off screen, is his big vault that he jumps into Scrooge McDuck style with money.
Every time I think of that now, I think about the bit from Family Guy where Peter dives into the coins and he's like, he like breaks every bone in his body. It's like, that wasn't liquid. It is many, many pieces of solid matter.
But yeah, I love the Sasquatch thing. Or when they shoot the big slingshot and they'd shoot the balls up and the person would have to catch it. And then they'd always fail. That was always good.
Yeah.
Or even the grounds crew challenge is lame nowadays.
Because everybody does it. And it's been
Well,
happening for years.
that and they just run down and they pick up a bag and hand it to the person and then keep running. Whereas back in the day, they had to run from center field to second base, put the bag, take the bag out, put the bag in the hole, and then run to the first, and then run past the first baseline.
You know what I
But nowadays,
miss?
it's just on the sideline.
Bring back Bear or Beard. It was
Mm,
very goofy. It was very dumb, but
these guys need more beards.
I
These
always was
young
having.
adolescents.
It was a real hoot for me. It's like, yeah, Bear Beard.
You could do like caterpillar or mustache, and it's Jordan Beck's little thin mustache.
Yeah, I've seen far more impressive caterpillars than Jordan Beck's mustache.
But yeah,
Maybe that should be Jordan Beck's resolution. Make a decision on that mustache, buddy.
just glue some of your hair right
It's
there.
not working. I'm sorry. And it's the same with Hunter Goodman's facial hair, where this the Amish cut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about that.
It works. Brother Goodman.
Big Amish.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the big thing in general. Just have more fun environment. Have more fun throughout the season. Interact with the players more. Hey, try commercials again, but maybe with players that are going to stick around for most of the year.
To be fair, I don't think they expected Michael Toglia to be gone at the end of last season.
I saw the commercial like twice.
It was, yeah. And it's the problem because some of those were fun. Like, honestly, the Rocky Mountain Oysters commercial was fun.
Yeah, halfway through the
Toga
season,
Party one.
Yeah, halfway through the season, they just stopped playing the commercials. I would see the glove is blind one. I'm like, okay, like these aren't the best ones.
And the problem is the two best ones were focused around a guy that was non-tendered.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was
struggling or in the
Rocky Mountain Oysters one, and it was the Toga Party one.
Until you had the biggest part in both of those.
Now, what you can do is lean into some guys that you know are not going anywhere. Do some more ads around Spilly. Spilly was had some of the good ads from the original run. But yeah,
bring back Spill the Beans.
Or grilling with Spilly. Like that COVID season stank, but grilling with Spilly was a nice, fun little segment to make things just a little bit more bearable.
There you go. Yeah, just do something, make it more fun. Have more fun as a team.
I think the last one before we round things out, and I think this is going to be a really big important one, and this for the big cheese himself, Mr. Dick Montfort. Do not fall back into old habits. This really needs to be a season where Dick Montfort can prove that he can let go. Let the baseball people, the very good team that your son Walker has compiled, let them do their thing. And if it doesn't work right away, that's okay. Don't immediately overcorrect and go, it didn't work. I've got to take back control of everything now. I've got to be in charge. I've got to do all the moves. You can't do that. You got to let go.
Yeah. You got to trust Walker and just do your thing. Focus on the 2027 CBA. Whatever. But also don't fall into old habits there either. Yeah, that's a big one. Is don't regress there, Dick Montfort. You've done good this offseason for the most part. You've still meddled a little bit probably, and there's probably still some influence that we're seeing now, particularly probably with free agency and that kind of thing. But that's a huge one.
Yeah, 100%. But what are your New Year's resolutions for the Colorado Rockies, or even for yourself? Feel free to let us know in the comments. And if you're the guy who hates that we talked about other Colorado sports for 5 to 10 minutes, your New Year's resolution should be to let it go.
Thanks for listening anyway.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Whether you love us or hate us or neither, We appreciate each and every one of you. Can't believe that we have made it through another year of Affected by Altitude. We are almost at episode 200, which is insane. So thank you so much for everyone who listens, for everyone who supports us. You know, we're poking fun. We appreciate each and every one of you, and this show doesn't exist without you guys. So thank you.
It's true. So we do this of our own free time, really. Doesn't really make anything for us, which is fine.
There's a reason our only sponsor is McDonald's.
Yeah, and they don't even exist.
Yeah. They pay us in Monopoly money.
You're getting paid?
I mean, paid.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, Skyler, here's to another year of Affected by Altitude. Listeners, thank you so much. Skyler, how about you? Tell the folks where they can find you.
Well, find me over on Twitter at Skyler Timmons or over on Blue Sky stimmons13.bsky.social. And right in the Wednesday Rock Piles for purplerow.com for the time being, unless that schedule changes at Purple Row. We'll figure all that out. But for the time being, I'm still on Wednesdays.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at evanlang27.bsky.social. I would love to hear from you. Catch me on Purple Row right in your Monday Rock Piles. We'll pick back up with Pebble Reports once the minor league season starts, and hopefully plenty other content over there. Remember that you can find Rocky Mountain Rooftop on all of your favorite podcasting platforms of choice: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. If it's got podcasts on it, you can probably find us there, including the video version of the show on YouTube. Remember that you can find Rocky Mountain Rooftop on all of your favorite social media platforms of choice, including the YouTube channel at Rocky Mountain Rooftop. That's at ROCKYMTN Rooftop.
Nice.
Skyler, you got anything else you want to say before we mosey on out of here for an afternoon full of Colorado sports?
Hey, if you have any, share this podcast with your other Rockies friends. Try and help us grow. Follow our social media accounts. We're trying to get more growth there, hopefully. And let us know anything you'd like to see. Segments, ideas, questions. Anything to help improve the show.
We value your input, and if you've got ideas, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah, you can always reach out to us on social media or leave it in the comments here on the YouTube, over on the YouTube version or wherever. Leave a review, like, subscribe, follow the YouTube channel, all that good stuff.
If you want to ambush me in person at a Rockies game, you can probably find me at the Authentics booth.
Yeah, go find him at Rockies Fest.
Don't do that. I mean, if like organically I bump into someone who recognizes me, that's neat. But if you want, if I hear someone go, yeah, I've been waiting to see you. I've been stalking this one specific spot. I'm gonna be like
10,000 bounty on Evan to go find him.
10,000 what?
They'll never know.
Because I know you ain't got $10,000, and neither do I. But yeah,
for legal reasons, we don't specify what.
10,000 grains of rice.
It's true.
But yeah, thank you so much, each and every one of you, for another spectacular year of Affected by Altitude here on Rocky Mountain Rooftop. That's going to do it here for us today. Skyler, how about you? Hit 'em with it.
I made myself calm. Farewell.
Skyler died.
Stay safe out there.
This has been Affected by Altitude, a Colorado Rockies podcast with Rocky Mountain Rooftop, a proud affiliate of the Fans First Sports Network. Catch new episodes every Monday on wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Be sure to follow us on YouTube as well for video versions of the show.